uh, these 30-year-old looking high schoolers, several of them have tattoos that are slightly faded. They didn't even bother trying to hide. You see drama dude's got this big tattoo on his arm in one scene, and then Rose has the big one on her back that you can tell it's been there for a couple of years. And it's like, you are not a high school student.
Welcome to Season 4 of Talking Pondo. Talking Pondo is a podcast where Clif and Marty give each other a film to watch and talk about them in detail. Some episodes will include a special guest.
Courtney Shane starts a dog kidnapping company will not be seen this week, so we may bring you the following sweet treat.
Sweet treat. Is it sweet?
I
guess that's the question.
Both movies are about kidnapping. I didn't even realize it until today.
Oh, you're right. Holy crap. Well, dog napping.
Well, I'll count it.
Okay.
It's Talking Pondo. We're back once again. It's me. It's Clif. My name is me. It's like Withnull and me. All right.
Clif and me.
And Marty. We have a guest today. We have two guests today. I don't know where they are, but their movie is still with us.
Yes.
Their film they brought was Wrong from 2012. But you watch it and you go, that's just wrong. And you go, wait a minute. That's why it's called this.
That's why it's called that.
Another movie that could have been called Wrong, Jawbreaker from very early of 1999. Wow. Only in 1999 could you have a premise that fucked up. Well, it's Talking Pondo. We're back once again where we talk about movies, and it's going to be just me and Clif because, you podcast, and sometimes people can't make it. But their movie continues.
Sometimes things happen, right? Sometimes things happen, but the episode has to keep going because we don't have the buffers like we used to, where we record an episode and 6 weeks later it would come out. So unfortunately,
we have.
They'll have to give us another movie, and they'll come back on, and we'll do it all over again. That'd be fun.
It's just the way it goes, and we have some listener mail.
Sweet.
Before we dive into. And already listener mail on season 4, episode 1, the Dragonheart Jawbreaker episode. No, it was the Dragonheart and Rollerball. Watch Jawbreaker every week now. And we had multiple mail on this one, but I'll just read the public mail. How about that?
Okay.
Dylan writes in and says, one of the better Schlenders to appear on the show. He's talking about his brother.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. And another person writes in about that episode. Somebody named Marco Waller. See, maybe ads do work because I don't know who this person is, but they said about Dragonheart and Rollerball, no joke, 2 of my all-time faves.
Wow.
So there you go.
Rollerball and okay. Well, you have varied tastes.
We'll be getting that person on the show soon too.
Yes, Marco. That's an interesting. That's interesting.
Fascinating, Captain.
Exactly.
I even watched the music video for that song from Jawbreaker because it's back when they had the little tie-in, and Rose McGowan is her character, and throwing jawbreakers at the singers of the band, and then they throw one at her.
Right?
No, they are in the movie, but I forget the band that does the You-Who song that you hear like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
That sounds like they're saying something else that I won't say, because then you can take the soundbite of me saying that, Howard Stern style, and then make it sound like I'm saying that. So. But if you watch Jawbreaker and you listen to that song they play 4 times, Vision Quest style, you go...
What song is it?
What is it? Called
Go ahead, sing it. Sing it for us.
It's so super cool, you, I am cool, or whatever the hell they're saying, right? But it gets stuck in your head forever. It's like that song "Steal My Sunshine" from Go, another 99 classic.
Jesus,
it's a mixtape happening.
Yeah, that's or like a Crazy Town's Butterfly.
Yeah, was that in a movie? Probably.
Yes. Oh God, yes. Yeah, I think
it was like Varsity Blues or something, wasn't it?
I think so.
Pull that one out. Rest in peace, Dawson.
Yeah, to the Dawson. And we lost, by the way, Dawson and Catherine O'Hara.
Mm-hmm. And Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall, yeah.
We changed gears to give you some newer movies this season, but if I hadn't, we'd already have our Robert Duvall tribute. But we will get to that movie soon enough. And you may already know what it is. It involves a little yellow guy that walks around the board eating little dots.
Oh, God. Okay.
And people don't like him, so they scream obscenities at him. Coming soon, eventually. But then we'll have a guest with that, and then we'll do our delayed Robert Duvall tribute. But yeah. So what should we start with today? The weirdness that is Jawbreaker, or the weirdness that is wrong?
Jawbreaker. Let's go Jawbreaker. Yeah. I want to get it out of my system.
In a time before Judy Greer was in everything ever made, there was a film she was in where she had a really bad wig, worse than anything in Dragonheart. But maybe that was the point, at least in the beginning, when she was a character named Fern Mayo. God, I'll never forget that
Mayo.
name. What
Fern
is
Mayo.
Jawbreaker?
Fern Mayo. Here we go. Jawbreaker. Okay, so Jawbreaker, 1999, rated R, hour and 26 minutes, blessedly short. Here's your log line, I guess. 3 of the most popular girls at Reagan High accidentally kill the prom queen with a jawbreaker when a kidnapping goes horribly wrong. Written and directed by Darren Stein, starring Rose McGowan, Rebecca Gayheart, Julie Benz, and Judy Greer. Let's see.
And Greer. We get Greer and Greer.
That's 2. You do get Greer on Greer violence in this. In a no-holds-barred birthday prank, 3 of Reagan's high school's most popular girls, Julie, Marcy, and Courtney, pretend to kidnap the most popular, Liz Purr. Courtney shoves a jawbreaker into the victim's mouth, ostensibly to keep her from screaming. Their plan goes awry when the girl accidentally swallows the jawbreaker, choking to death. The cool and calculating Courtney tries to cover the crime, but is found out by school geek Fern Mayo. In return for her silence, Courtney transforms the gawky Fern into the stylish beauty Violet, leaving the conscience-stricken Julie out in the cold, threatening to set her up for the girl's murder if she breaks her silence. Tagline: some of the sweetest candies are sour as death inside.
You know, I don't blame the guest for not showing up today in part.
You know, I wouldn't want to talk about this fucking movie either, honestly.
Didn't they watch Pulp Fiction? You look at the GIMP. The thing is not going to go in your mouth. You know, it's got a device to keep you from fucking
bring out the GIMP.
Oh, man. Which movie has the more fucked up beginning? This or Wrong? Not to get into that, because that has a very striking opening shot where you're like, this is a fucking weird beginning too. But I think this must be one of the most terrible premise for a movie. And only in 99, when you could still put something like this out as a mainstream movie, that's so fucking disturbing. I think in my 20s, I was like, whatever, it's another WB movie. I didn't think twice. But watching it now, it's like, that is so fucked up. What a way to start the movie, by kidnapping your friend. Mm-hmm. And then it's so morbid how it's like she chokes to death. And then it's like, is this like River's Edge was a comedy? It's just too weird in the beginning. It's very morbid.
Yeah, it's I feel like it's really pulling from Heathers a lot to kind of it's this
Heathers
morbid.
And Carrie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, of course, you know, this is definitely a progenitor to, like, you know, Mean Girls later, which I think Mean Girls does this, but does it in a much better way because
of course it does.
Nobody dies, you know. But it's still about the dynamics of high school and the sort of ugly duckling and that type of thing, and popularity and power through popularity and you know, the sort of teen dynamics in high school, right? Whereas this one's definitely done through a much darker sort of macabre sort of tone, right? Dark comedy. Yeah. But the thing about it is that dark comedies need to be funny. Well, and this fucking thing just isn't funny.
This is a horror movie. It's dressed up as a dark comedy, but it's really a horror movie. It's like when you turn the laugh track off on a sitcom and it's suddenly really dark.
Yeah.
But if you can extrapolate yourself from that and just focus on the costumes, the makeup, the hairstyles, the general attitude, you go, wait a minute. It's not necessarily the movie for me, but I can see how this is a camp classic. It's almost like drag queen Heathers in a way, right? The
I don't
aesthetic
know that
of it.
I don't know that it's camp, but I mean, it feels like what a gay man thinks when he closes his eyes and he goes to bed at night, how women in high school, how girls in high school interact with each other. Like, it's so far removed from any sort of reality of how, everybody's amped up and kind of, the actions are amped up. Everything's overdone.
They try to treat it like a cartoon, the
Overly
bad
dramatic and
transitions.
melodramatic,
Yeah.
and
So I'm like,
it's
man, I was
just,
complaining about CBGB, but then you see the
mhm.
transitions here and you're like, you're forcing a cartoony tone. See, it's just a joke, but it's not. But it
It's
is,
not,
but
it's,
it's not.
I
But
guess.
like I was telling you, this director went to an all boys school, so he doesn't know from an actual public school
He's
life.
got no idea what girls in high school do.
He watched Heathers and Carries, and then he made this
Mhm.
movie.
I mean, I like all the actresses in the film. I think that they do a fine job. Um, I mean, Rose McGowan back in the day she was absolutely gorgeous, stunning woman, and still very pretty. Don't mean to imply that she isn't, but I it's not as smart as it thinks it is, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's really trying to have that sort of Heather's dialogue, and that sort of Mean Girls dialogue, but it doesn't. It's just kind of falls flat a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but like you said, the production looks great.
Oh yeah, they went
I
insane with trying to match everything to Jawbreaker colors.
yeah, the girls are all red, blue, and green, and a lot of times all these classic. They never dress the three girls in the same colors. They're always in different colors, and they always look really good. The costuming, the makeup, it always looks fantastic. Which makes sense. I mean, throughout the movie, that's what they talk about is how obsessed what they are with how they look and so on and
Right.
so forth.
That's what ramps it up for as camp classic to me, where I'm just like, oh yeah, if you're into the drag culture, you're probably going to find a lot to enjoy
Sure.
stylistically in this. Where it's like, who cares about the story? This is fucking gorgeous. I could see that kind of attitude towards it.
Hmm.
One of the reviews I read said something like, if anybody in this movie questioned anything, it would be over in like 5 minutes. It's one of
Yeah,
those where if
absolutely.
logic comes in, it's done.
Yeah, it's a My Cousin Vinny world where the characters do what
I
they
stole the
do,
tuna fish.
and yeah, the misunderstanding has to happen so that this can move forward and so on and so forth. They could have played it so the main characters were likable or at least had some sort of redemption worth,
Nah,
but instead, nah, they make them,
getting catty.
they make the mistake, and every choice after the mistake is just them being more and more unlikable and kind of doubling down on it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they get worse. Rebecca Gayhart's character becomes nicer. And every time
Becomes
we see
nicer.
her,
Yeah.
she's a little less of their style, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
every time it seems like she's a little bit more earthy each time we
Yeah.
cut back to her.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's because she's hanging out with the drama kid, man.
yeah. And he's all the jocks and the drama kids don't match. And I'm like, you got to grow up, dude, because those two things have a lot more in common than you realize.
Well,
They really,
you
really
got to keep the clicks. You got to keep the clicks going, man. In high
do.
school, just stuff doesn't mix, man. It's like oil and water, bro.
Uh, these 30-year-old looking high schoolers, several of them have tattoos that are slightly faded. They didn't even bother trying to hide. You see drama dude's got this big tattoo on his arm in one scene, and then Rose has the big one on her back that you can tell it's been there for a couple of years. And it's like, you are
Mm-hmm.
not a high school student. But this
Mm-hmm.
movie also does something that movies nowadays will not do: simulated scenes of people who are supposed to be underage doing it.
Uh,
So that whole weird Marilyn Manson scene, they wouldn't show that in a movie now. It's funny, this movie is really disturbing in many ways. It comes from the Marilyn Manson era of when she was
I
dating
thought that
him momentarily.
his appearance and what he was doing in that film was so perfectly appropriate. And I was like, oh man, out of all the things in this film to sort of nail it,
He was robbed of the
and
Oscar.
and to get exactly right is, oh, look at what a fucking absolute creep Marilyn Manson is. I appreciate its attempt to be creative and do something different, but it plays more like a music video than a movie.
Oh, totally.
It's got that music video feel. Everybody, Rose McGowan in particular looks like they've sprayed her with some sort of candy coating.
Mm-hmm.
Like she just has this strange sort of shine to her. And then, of course, we have the friends turn on each other, and we know 20 minutes in that Fran's going to be the overall winner of all this. Like there's no surprise that Fran becomes who she becomes. Yeah. It's the movie's very, very straightforward. And my favorite surprise of the whole movie is Jeff Conaway as the father.
Yeah. Another person who didn't have the greatest end of life.
No,
a lot of
unfortunately
disturbingness going on and surrounding this movie. I think the youngest cast member of the main might have been Judy Greer, because she's closer to our age. But like, who's the other friend? The blonde woman.
Oh, Julie Benz.
Yeah, and you go, fucking A, you're like pushing 35. You're not a high school student. But then you realize everybody in the movie is pushed. But then I'm like, that's part of the camp, I think. Maybe it's purposely,
Well, I mean, look, I mean, we talk about this with Vision Quest, right? Like, I mean, he's 23 or 24 at the time playing an 18-year-old kid. She's
old.
They
feel like they could be teachers at that school.
These girls definitely feel, yeah. I mean, she was born in 73, so she's 26 at the time of Jawbreaker.
Yeah.
So yeah. I honestly, I'd rather watch Heathers or,
well, of course, why
Empire Records or
review
Mean Girls.
Why would you waste time watching The Impersonator when Heathers is right there?
Exactly.
Because we're studying it for the show. When this came out, I was going to see like every movie, saw this at the drive-in, and I'd watch every kind of WB type movie and stuff. At that point, like I was saying, we were about the same age as a lot of the people in the movies. So it was that fun, weird, sweet spot where it's like, okay, these movies are aimed at younger people, but they're all starring people that are my age, pretending to be the younger people. So it's still aimed at me a little bit.
It's still kind of aimed at you. Yeah, I get that. Yep.
Strange time period. Very Heathers, yet pre-Mean Girls. Style over substance. A study in art design, costuming, hair, and makeup. Except the mother of all bad wigs on Fern Mayo in the beginning. But I feel like maybe that was on purpose,
Well, they had to frump her up. You have to do the whole ugly duckling turn, which is a classic. Also another, we've always seen that classic in the 80s movies and in these type of high school movies where, of course, you get the one that comes to mind is Ali Sheedy in Breakfast Club, that classic.
Yeah. And people complain about that one. And I think, you don't know that character. Maybe she was tired of having dandruff. Maybe she always wanted to be glammed up and never had the balls to do it. But people want to project themselves on like, no, you stay frumpy forever. Maybe that's a different character. Yeah. That's my editorial on the Breakfast Club.
Maybe frumpy was a outward reflection of how she felt inwardly, and later, as she felt differently, she decided that it was okay to reflect that outwardly.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Why not both?
And suddenly Rose McGowan is talking way too much at lunch. And
we don't eat at school.
It's she does begin to get worse and worse, like making that dude suck that fucking lollipop and shit. It's fucking weird. This girl's getting weird with it, man. Like she's starting to get really kind of fucking
making John Waters proud.
Yeah, exactly. God bless her.
They go full. That's what I say. They go full camp. It's like Tropic Thunder. You never go full.
Yeah,
you got to pull back a little bit to get the audience something to connect to.
yeah. There's something missing from it for some reason. Like it doesn't go far enough. Like I'm gonna get you, sucker, to be completely ridiculous and not rooted in some sort of reality, but at the same time, it also doesn't nail the camp right.
Yeah.
Right. So it just feels weird. I don't know, awkward.
And Carol Kane's in the movie as principal, I guess, right? And at one point she says, "This is not a brothel," and I'm like, "Yeah, you would know all about that from The Last Detail, right?"
Yep.
I thought that was kind of a fun little
She would definitely know
that. I haven't necessarily met, but have been in contact with 4 people from this movie. Isn't that fucking weird? Like, we saw Pam Grier last year at Mad Monster.
Sure.
We saw Rose McGowan the year before that, but we didn't actually talk to either of them.
Talk to her, yep.
But then, strangely enough, Elizabeth's parents are played by William Catt and PJ Souls in A Blink and You'll Miss It, both from Carrie. And I met them at the first Mad Monster I ever went to, but I had completely forgotten about Jawbreaker.
Interesting.
And I was like, oh, look at them, still chummy after all the years after Carrie, forgetting completely that they've worked together several times since. But
still chummy
of all movies
after all these years.
Be so Kevin Bacon close to, this one, weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I think it's one of those movies, again, we keep having these movies on the show that, like, for people who grew up at a certain time with this film, this is going to be a guilty pleasure.
I was thinking maybe The Guest
or a big time nostalgia type of movie to it. $3.5 million budget, opened with, to $1.5 million and grossed $3 million worldwide. Yeah. So it did well enough to make its money back, and then it probably went on to do its DVD rental and cable money.
But it certainly didn't help the director make more movies.
No, probably not.
But you could still get something like this out in the theaters back then.
Well, and you could still, as a sort of, I mean, I think he'd done Sparkler, maybe, and then, yeah, that makes sense, dude. He didn't really do much before, but at least, in back in 99 in the 90s, you could make a small movie that did okay and kind of get yourself leveraged into something a little bit bigger. Oh shit, his first movie starred Jamie Kennedy, dude.
Well, why not? You already got Screamcast. Keep going more Screamcast.
And Freddie Prinze Jr. Wow.
Of course. Like I'm saying, I went to every WB movie back then.
Oh, that's great. I will say that there's a shot in the movie, and it's Elizabeth's death announcement, where Rebecca Gayheart is walking down the halls, and the director's chosen to have all the students freeze in the hallway so they're not moving. And the camera's I think a camera's doing a slow dolly back with just a very, very slight pull in of focus or zoom in. So it gives it this very weird ethereal effect. And she's walking through the hall. I thought, damn, that's probably the best shot in the whole fucking movie right there.
I was watching wrong for a second.
Yeah, well, but in a good way. Like it perfectly matched what the character obviously was feeling in that moment of hearing her friend's death be announced and knowing that she was responsible for it, right? I thought, man, that's the
it's a good
out of everything in the movie, that's the best moment,
It does showcase that the tone is bizarre, because that's like a serious scene, and then we're transitions of Hanna-Barbera sound effects,
Yeah.
What? It's trying to, be everything. That's why I was hoping for The Guest, because they were younger than us, and maybe they would have had that. Well, I saw it then, and this is how I feel about it now. So.
The Heartbreaker cover is really bad in this. I love me a good cover, but that Heartbreaker cover has got to go. It's really awful. The movie is fine for what it is. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's just about people that you really, I don't really care much about, I don't really have much of a reason to care about Rebecca Gayheart's character. I really don't understand why she doesn't just go along with Rose's character, because there's really no sudden flash or impetus for her to have this altruistic moment. And, I don't know. The shock of seeing her best friend dead, and then suddenly she's like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm going to date.
She's the only one who had the conscience.
Ruin her life.
Pictures and remembering. Remember when we used to hang out with Martha Dump Truck? And wait a minute, that's the other movie. Sorry, I was.
Yeah. I
getting those
guess.
Heather's
Yeah.
elements mixed up again, where she's the
Suddenly
pseudo-Winona Ryder
she
character.
has a conscience
She
because she
wants to
had a friend as
poison
a
the other
kid.
Heathers, but then she has a change of mind after.
Yeah.
It is very similar. It's how you get from Heathers to Mean Girls. There's this movie called Jawbreaker. Fits right in the middle there. And even though it
Yeah.
wasn't 90 minutes, wow, it certainly felt like it was longer to me.
Did you notice that all the men in this movie are like, other than the drama kid, are pretty fucking dumb?
Oh yeah,
Like
they
they're
have no
all.
agency, which made me sad that this movie that's so female powered is not very good. Because you don't get a whole like movies that are like this, and then you get one and you're like, oh, but it's not that great.
I don't know that it's. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know that female powered is a movie where men have no agency. I do like that it's. I know what you're saying about female forward, but I do think it's weird that the men in this movie, you got the one kid who's forced to lick the lollipop.
They're not in charge, is what I mean. They're
Lollipop.
not like it's all about what
dad,
the dude does. It's not one of
those.
those.
The dad who she just basically tells him to fuck off and ignores him. Everybody, all the men in this movie are just kind of there. But it makes sense. I mean, it's like you said, it's female driven, female forward, I guess. But and it is trying, I guess, like making a statement about that, maybe a little bit. I don't know.
The license plate, bitches, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's what this.
It feels like someone was fucking bullied in high school a lot, right? Like, and people now, they want to bitch about online bullying. Like, imagine having to put up with this shit in high school.
Well, speaking of online, I remember this movie being one of the first that had its own website, and that was a big deal. You'd go to the website and look at dumb little Flash animations and shit.
Oh God, Flash animations.
Wow. Jawbreaker.com, probably on the Internet Archive if you want to
go to the Lifesavers website and play all the Flash games.
And yes, kids, butter rum lifesavers have always existed. Memes
are fantastic. They're fantastic. Don't be stupid. Those are good.
Memes are just the National Enquirer and the Weekly World News in your face constantly. But we remember when that was called tabloid journalism.
Mom, you're not calling the Weekly World paper the news, are you? Sorry, it's a little Mike Myers there. What do you give it?
I give it a 1.
Wow.
This movie's terrible. But if like I said, if I was gay and I had a certain aesthetic, I'd be like, oh, fucking 4-star camp classic. Who cares about the story? I just want to watch the fucking costumes. But for me personally, I think I liked it more back when, but now I'm just like, well, nice try, guys, but I don't think I need to sit through this again.
I feel like Priscilla is like that to a certain extent, where I'm like, I don't care too much about some of the other stuff. I just kind of want to watch the craziness in the costumes.
Mm-hmm.
I get
can't
that.
Fault the production design on this thing.
I agree. For me, it's a 2, mainly because like we've talked about, it's pretty well shot, looks good, sounds good. Production value is good. I think for $3.5 million, it looks like quite a bit more. Well done, but also just not a great fucking movie.
Oh,
not a great movie.
Well, that was
speaking of not great movies.
Strange road that we went down here. Oh, and then so our guest movie was Wrong from 2012, the strangest episode of Entourage I've ever seen. I didn't know what it was, and the other choices where I'm like, those could have been good choices. Maybe they were the better choices. Maybe they were the worst choices. But then I realized I just gave Cliff another French movie. Strap in. What is Wrong from 2012, as opposed to the other movies called Wrong?
Wrong from 2012, not rated, 1 hour and 34 minutes. Dolph Springer wakes up one morning to realize he has lost the love of his life, his dog, Paul. During his quest to get Paul and his life back, Dolph radically changes the lives of others, risking his sanity all the while. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Let me keep going. Sorry. Director and writer Quentin Dupieux, stars Jack Plotnick. Your storyline is Dolph Springer wakes up one morning to realize he has lost the love of his life, his dog, Paul. During his quest to get Paul back. Oh, it's the same thing. Dolph radically changes the life of others. A pizza delivery nymphomaniac, a jogging addicted neighbor in search of completeness, an opportunistic French Mexican gardener, and an off kilter pet detective. In his journey to find Paul, Dolph may lose something even more vital, his mind.
You know, we talk a lot about
Okay.
subtext and allegory, and as you're reading that description,
Symbolism.
it makes me think, okay, is this movie about more than what it's showing?
Oh, sure it is.
Is the whole weird subplot about the woman with the baby and he's lost the love of his life? Maybe it's something about losing a child or something was in there. I don't know. I didn't thought to think about that so just now when you're reading that synopsis. It's definitely surreal. Yeah, it's got a little Magnolia, a little Donnie Darko, a little Serious Man, but overall Lynchian kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Mm-hmm.
from the guy who made Rubber about the killer tire, which I didn't realize till after. And I've never seen that, but if I had known that, I would have been like, oh, well, of course this is going to be fucking weird and surreal. We always watch the secondary movies, right? We don't go in to the main movie from somebody. But an early digital low budget effort, right? Isn't this from like 2012? So around then, that's when you were first starting to get some of these high def, because it had that kind
Yeah.
of feel to it, right? That kind of sheen.
Yeah.
To me, like maybe this was like a red or something, like an early.
It grossed $106,000 worldwide. I don't think it played very many
No,
places at all. I
limited and
know it.
probably direct us to video.
Well, it's a what do you call it? It's a film festival movie.
Mm,
Like, this is not a movie that you're going to put in front of audiences and expect people to go see.
mm-hmm.
This is a movie for film lovers and cinema people who like to say that they watch things that aren't normal Hollywood type of films. That's what this is.
Yeah, it's like between these movies today and the movies we watched with Izzy last time, the Paprika and Lost Boys. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
we went to the Loft 2 weeks in a row, and these are like,
Yeah.
and these 4 movies, we would have seen all of these at the Loft,
Mm-hmm.
and that's our local art house here in Tucson. You'd see a revival screening of The Lost Boys, and oh, what is that trailer for this anime called Paprika? And here's this weird movie called Wrong, and
So why let me just start. Why at the beginning of this movie are we watching a guy read a newspaper, a firefighter read a newspaper while he takes a shit?
that's what I thought, right? Talk about strange opening shot. But then when you see it pulled back, I don't think he's taking a shit. I think he's just squatting in the road reading the newspaper. But it's strange, right? Because later
I mean,
on, you're
he's
revealed.
bare assed. He's got his pants down.
Oh, because I thought he had his shorts up. I didn't go
I
back
don't
and
think so. Maybe
re-examine.
he's
Because I
got to go
thought,
back
what
and
a
look at it.
weird way to start.
My thought exactly.
It's
What
all
a fucking weird way to start this movie.
it's all the symbolism in the movie. You find out later that that's the van that had kidnapped Dolph's dog had crashed. And
Right.
that's why we're focusing on that. But the dog got away, and I know because I have psychic dog connection. But there's a lot of weirdness that I don't think there is an explanation. I don't think the filmmaker has an explanation. I think people purposely put questions in movies sometimes just to start discussion. Like you have his clock that goes to 7:60 instead of starting a new hour. He checks his mail, and there's an envelope with no address and a stamp that hasn't been postmarked. And you go, okay, so obviously nothing is normal in this. I mean, the whole conversation he has at the beginning.
Oh, fuck.
On the phone with the pizza person, and then he goes to work and the sprinklers are on while he's working. It's just one surreal. Why do you keep coming to work? We fired you 3 months ago. Well, I just like pretending to work. Is that okay? No, it's not okay. As a matter of fact, you can't come back here anymore. And the whole time I'm sitting here going, this guy looks so much, not so much, but it reminds me of Bradford. It's that Gene Wilder school of actor. And I'm like, look at the French Canadian Bradford working with the French Canadian Brian Mulligan, a guy who was in our Comic Book Diaries movie. Both of these actors look like people that we've worked with as actors in our films, which made the movie even extra surreal to me on a personal level. Because I'm like, when we share this one, I'm gonna have to put a picture of Bradford and a picture of Dolph side by side and be like, separated at birth, wrong part 2. the Billy Shaw story. But I know you have thoughts on this film.
I found the dialogue to be circular and at times pointless. It's it's, I think Patton Oswalt said at one point, it's like going to the French circus where somehow everything's wet and on fire at the same time. It's just,
and it is.
And there's a guy running around, with a monkey smacking his bare ass, and and there's two Siamese twins laughing in fucking tutus, and we spend 5 minutes having them call this pizza place and whine about some ambiguous logo, and the woman's like, "This is the most interesting conversation I've ever had," and and my note is like, I bet you $10 she's the romantic interest in the movie, and boom, of course she is.
Yeah,
right. And the movie's mostly, half the movie's just scenery. Half the movie is just shot. It's like a fucking French Napoleon Dynamite, Walter Mitty ass sort of spotless mind type of shit that I really don't enjoy watching. I don't like this type of filmmaking. I never have. It just, I don't know. I don't want to watch, a clown on a unicycle on a high wire with, laughing behind it and be told that it means something. Like, fucking come on,
It felt like, to me, like it was a short idea where it was about the guy who set up a dog kidnapping thing to make people care about their pets more, right? And when we reunite you with your pet, then you realize how much you missed your pet. And then it seemed like, well, that's not long enough for a feature. So let's put this weird subplot with the gardener that she, love interest, thinks is him, but then she knows it's not him, but then you can't make sense of the surrealism. It's obviously not supposed to make sense. But it almost feels like a separate movie inside the movie, right? And then Dolph, you go, for me anyway, I'm thinking, okay, he's lost his dog. He seems to care about the dog, but at the same time, it almost seems like he doesn't care about the dog, right? Like he's almost emotionless towards
at parts of the times, I don't even think there is a fucking dog.
That's what you're led to believe sometimes too. But he's on the bus, like the guy told him he would.
No, I mean, part of me is like, oh no, this dog is going to be like a kid that he's lost.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah,
a wife or something that somebody close to him that he's lost, and it's forced him into sort of depression and denial, and he's lost his job, but he continues to do the same things.
So when he stabs her on the beach and he's reunited with the dog, and he visions that other part of himself being buried, maybe he's finally reached a closure of that trauma and he can move forward now. Is that the,
I guess,
maybe you can bring so much to a movie like this.
It's hard to follow it. And it's one of the things that, again, that I don't really enjoy about the movie is like, I don't want to sit here and argue what the symbolism of the movie meant.
I think it's drives me crazy. I think it's what you come up with. Yeah.
I do like it in bits and pieces. I mean, I definitely like it, but when it's a movie like this where everything, nothing is anchored in any sort of reality, and everything is, it just makes no fucking sense.
You think it is, and then it's not, like his tree in the back.
The palm tree's a pine tree. Well, I want a palm tree.
Well, you got to get the pine tree out of here. Well, we can't do that. And then when he does it, it causes that guy to have a heart attack and die. There's a lot of symbology.
But then he immediately shows right back up.
He doesn't know he's dead or something. Fucking weird, man. It is weird. It's one of those, I'm glad that I at least watched it a few days ago so I could process it, even though I didn't think about it much after I watched it. Now that we're talking about it, I'm like getting new ideas from it. I think what I read is this director made a few movies in America and then just went back to France and just decided to make things there. Like it didn't pan out for him here, like so many. But you were going to say something.
I mean, Rubber, really?
People
what did you think?
They like that one though. I don't.
I'm not saying that.
But that's a horror movie. But yeah,
you make that and fucking expect a modern American audience to get onto that or this, and you're gonna go back to France with stuff like this. I'm sorry, but this is not just not what an American audience expects at all.
Well, after a follow-up to a horror movie,
it's not creative enough in an American sense, like a Sinners or something, where you could grasp onto it and culturally, really move with it. It's just this weird fucking thing that floats around. It doesn't have make a lot of sense at times, until, oh, look, he's back with his dog at the end. That's nice.
Oh, maybe it's more creepy.
This girl's basically just like, oh, we had sex, so I'm going to dump my husband and I'm going to move in with you. Hi. What?
Well,
what is that representative of?
Yeah, obviously the whole thing is representative of stuff that you can't try to piece this together as a narrative, act 1, act 2, act 3, because then you're just going to be left going, no, it's something else.
It's also kind of, I feel like it's kind of trying to be artistic for the sake of trying to be artistic. Like,
much like Jawbreaker. Yeah, they both went
to much like Jawbreaker, right? But we've got this,
the technique.
Oh, it's raining in the office. Okay, well, it's raining in the office. Well, we don't ever understand really why it's raining in the office, but maybe if they had done some other atmospheric shit in other parts of it, where it was like maybe there was snow in a house or
budget,
something else where it was at least, but no, it's just, we're just going to make it rain in the office. Why? Because it's weird. Okay. Rain in the office. You got it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It reminds me of Wes Anderson movies, and I fucking hate Wes Anderson movies.
I enjoy it more than Wes Anderson movies, though, because I don't really like his stuff that much either. But I like this more than some of those. I did like Life Aquatic, though. I liked that one.
Okay, I'll give you his earlier stuff's easier to digest. I agree. I'll give him credit for making something interesting to look at. But overall, I don't like the movie's aesthetic. Like, and I'm starting to realize this is a big part of what this podcast is great for me, is I'm really starting to understand my aesthetic, your aesthetic, and other people's. And it's just, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you like a movie for a certain reason. Cool, man. I'm not going to yuck your yum, but I don't like that shit. You eat that. Like you said, get it off my plate. If you want to eat that, you eat that. I don't want to eat that. Right. So
he's a fussy eater.
I don't like the look of it. I don't like soundtrack. I don't like its tone. I don't like its humor. However, it's well made. It looks good. It's creative. It's doing some interesting things. I'm just not moved by it, and I'm not following it. For a 90-minute movie, it felt 3 fucking hours.
Both movies felt long today.
Holy shit! I would much rather watch Jawbreaker over this.
I like this more than Jawbreaker. This kept my.
It's not about it's about which one I would rather watch again, and I would much rather watch.
I'd rather watch this over Jawbreaker as well. It kept me interested.
I would much rather watch this than French Canadian Bradford going around doing all the weird dialogue. Although I do, God bless you, Bradford. I love you to death, and I think you should have probably been cast in this. You would have been better.
Right. That's part of the reason I was so intrigued, because I kept thinking about Bradford while I'm watching the movie. And I was also like, well, what the hell's going to happen next? I kept thinking it was going to go real morbid and dark, and thankfully it didn't. It kind of stayed into kind of a comedy almost. The tone is light for the most part.
It didn't feel funny to me.
It doesn't feel scary or gross or tension or mystery.
Maybe this is another one of those French culture things, like we talked about with Withnell and I, right? Where it's like, I liked Withnell and I, but I'm sure that there was cultural things I didn't pick up on, and maybe this is a part of that too.
Don't you think that this movie was trying to be funnier more than it was trying to be creepy or off-putting?
It felt like
I just rubber ducked myself there.
It didn't feel like it was in particular trying to be funny. I felt like it was trying to be whimsical or humorous to a certain extent, but it didn't feel like it was a comedy. And what it felt more like was like Stranger Than Fiction or Everything Has to Go, these character studies about these people who live these weird sort of surreal lives, Secret Life of Walter Mitty type of thing about, these people who live either surreal lives or lives inside their heads or lives disconnected from reality. Amelie is a much better example of that to a certain extent.
This is Amelie, directed by David Lynch.
It's someone's capstone project. Like it feels like somebody's.
Well, some movies are moving paintings. They're not really stories. They're more just expressions. Yeah.
I get that, but if they're going to be like that, then for me, they're going to have to connect with me in a better way. I think this one just doesn't connect with me, right? I'm not really jiving with what it's throwing down, and there again are scenes in the movie that I enjoyed and moments that I enjoyed, but for the most part, it was just kind of fucking strange. And the dude showing up, Mr. Wong, I think was his name.
Oh, the Mr. Chang.
Master Chang, William Fichtner.
Who's been in so many different things, yeah.
So many different things. It was insane.
I liked his weird character, though, and then you think he's full of shit, but then you find out, oh, he really is the dog psychic. And then it was like, this has never happened before. Like, I'm supposed to capture the dog, give it back to you, but the guy got in a wreck. What the fuck? Why did this happen to me? And then it kind of reminded me of A Serious Man with like, why me? Why me? But then I also liked at the end where it was like, he's so satisfied seeing the reuniting. He's like, where next? Okay, so-and-so is getting back with their cat. Yes, take me there. Take me to that. Because he just wants to see these people get back with their pets. So the real meaning of the movie is, your pets are awesome. Don't forget that. You don't get bored with your pets. Continue to cherish them and love them and have fun with them on a daily basis. Because if they're not there, you're going to miss them. Now, that's kind of like the normal. But then maybe there's something more about, stillborn or something going on deeper because of the weird subplot. Hey, we just heard from our guest. They're at a wedding out of town. They're not even home. My bad. They forgot. It's been over a month since I booked them. Hey, it's kind of like you were on the show anyway. Well, we'll try to get you on again.
There you go. Well, thanks for making us watch wrong and not being here to listen to me complain about the fact that I didn't like it. No, I'm just kidding.
And they had the reason that was going to tell you why. I never thought of that before. Genius.
I think it's I give him credit for making it interesting to look at. I just
not too many sets
for me.
Good use of not a large budget.
It's trying way too hard to be quirky and surrealistic, and it's just not pulling it off. But I mean, he's a good filmmaker. He lets his actors act. I'll give him that. That's another thing is he boils his scenes way too long. Like it's like beat after beat after beat where I'm like, okay, cut. Okay, cut. Okay, why are we still looking at his face? Cut. Like there's a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Although it felt like a little bit like Broken Flowers, which that girl is also in.
Oh, I fell asleep during that one.
Xena.
Oh, she's the other Entourage person. She gets typecast as playing the crazy girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Over and over again.
She does.
I had to look up how tall she was. She's 5'2". She seems like she's shorter than that.
She does. She does seem like she's shorter than that. Yeah, she does play crazy. The whole movie's very weird.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not going back to Jawbreaker. I'm probably not going back to this one again, but I am glad I watched both of these. If just for a reference point. And then you're watching wrong, and I don't know if you're like me 5 minutes into it, saying to yourself, that's just wrong. Wait a minute. Now we have our title. Wait a minute, that clock went to 7:60. That's wrong.
It's all wrong. It's all wrong.
And much like a lot of David Lynch movies, I don't think he had the answer to a lot of those type of movies. I think he just liked putting the question out there. It's like, what does your painting mean? It just means whatever you think it means. If it infuriates you, then that's what it does. But somebody else might see it and be like, oh my God, right? How you always see people in the museums going, this is amazing. And the other person's like, this is shit. That's art, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would agree with you that art's supposed to evoke an emotional reaction, and best art does. That's why art's working, right? Mm-hmm. When you go, I fucking hated that, then as long as you didn't hate it because it was poorly made, right? Like it was just poorly made. Like if you hated that because you hated the character or the story or something like that, then the art's done its job and evokes some sort of emotional reaction from you, right? However, at the same time, I feel like throwing a bunch of shit onto a screen and then going, what do you think? It's supposed to be whatever you think it is a fucking cop out.
Well, no, it
right.
meant
And
something to them.
I've known people who paint, artists who paint, who do that.
Oh yeah.
Well, what do you think it means? Well, what did you name it? Oh, it's called unknown. Okay, well then it doesn't mean a fucking thing because you don't even know what it means. You just put some shit onto a canvas. If you don't have a purpose for your art or a direction, and you're not have a clear statement or something to say, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to have to muddy it out from you, right? And nor do I think it's art's job to basically just go, here's some. What do you think? It's
I
the
think
same thing
that
with
can
this
be,
AI slop I see.
no, I don't think that's always how it is. I think sometimes it does mean something to them, but they don't have to tell us what that means to them. And it can still mean something. It might not mean anything to me. It might mean something to somebody else, but I'm not going to say that they didn't know.
No, that's fine.
There are some people that would do that.
My problem is when when you don't have a purpose. You don't have to tell me, but I think a lot of times they're not saying it because they don't fucking know, because they didn't really. Again, like you said, I just threw the question out there. I don't know the answer. I just threw the question out there. Okay, well,
I think it doesn't necessarily mean that there is an answer to a question. Sometimes doesn't mean that there isn't valid in asking the question.
Like and subscribe.
I think that the guy who made Wrong, I think all the symbology means something to him deeply. I think
if you're going to ask a fucking question, you should have an opinion on it at least.
Well, you're very literal.
And at times, this movie Wrong doesn't feel like it has an opinion. It feels like it's just asking the question, which I think is what annoyed me about it to a certain extent. That's interesting you brought that up, because I think that is, I don't feel like the movie took a stance at all.
I can see that.
Anything else you want
to? Surprisingly, no. I
don't either.
It's
gonna be a short episode.
The other two guests to fill in the gaps a little. That's all right though.
Yeah, it's fine. Maybe our listeners will bless us for giving them something under an hour. I'm sure.
They were both short movies too, so
yeah. Although they again both did feel much longer than they were.
I will say Amazon Prime doesn't have as many commercials as I would think they would. Watching Wrong on there was not bad.
Yeah. Wrong had quite a few on there. I was really annoyed,
I only had a couple.
Actually, so it must have just been me then.
Like, you're watching this again? You're getting more commercials. Well, we won't tell you what the movies are next week because this was a guest episode and we don't announce that. So just tune in, and who knows what next week is, but it'll be another episode. Now, what do you give Wrong on your
2 stars.
2 stars. I give it 2.5, so we are pretty close. There were some of the weird swings, and I did like the craft of it, the way it was shot.
I feel like the craft as well.
They pulled off what they were trying to do, whatever that was. I feel like they accomplished it. I don't think they compromised themselves on that one.
Yeah,
I don't think there was notes that they listened to.
It's just like I said, I had no problem with the craft of the movie or what it was trying to do. I just hated the aesthetic of the movie itself. I just didn't like it. That whole we tapped into this dog shit subconscious, and we can watch it through video as it comes out of the dog's ass and lands.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Now that was bad.
What the fuck?
That was bad.
Okay.
That was kind of dumb. But then it also leads to the comedic part of, you didn't fucking tell me? Well, I thought he told you. And then we're back to, if people would just communicate with each other, the movie would be over in 5 minutes.
Yep. I killed the clerk.
So Rose McGowan starts a dog kidnapping. Oops, I accidentally killed your dog.
I kidnapped Rose McGowan.
But don't worry, it was Marilyn Manson killed your dog.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to frame him.
Well, he had sex with it first, then he killed it.
And then we just, play the little recording at the prom, and that's enough. You're going to jail. Go back to Jawbreaker. And then she does all the mashed faces that puts Divine to shame at the end there. And I'm just like, yeah, this is over the top, man. On purpose. Yeah. It reminded me of Hatchet Face from Crybaby. You know that.
You want to get out of here on a quote?
I don't have a quote. I didn't remember anything that anybody said.
I have one. It's been proven that all Brunos eventually hang themselves.
Oh, God. Bruno's a bad name. Don't say that. Are you cool? Are you cool?
Till next week. Later.
Don't miss an episode. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, and keep listening to the show on the app of your choice. Do it now.